So the other day I was browsing Gumtree. Yes, Gumtree, that website your grandparents sell garden furniture on. And I came across this, a £15 desktop PC with a monitor. So I messaged the seller. As soon as I got a reply, I jumped in my car and drove 50 minutes down the road to pick it up. And then I lugged this dinosaur of a PC inside. And here it is. This is what £15 worth of PC gets you in 2025. The geezer that was selling this PC also happened to be selling this thing here. This antique sewing machine, and he threw it in for an extra £4. I thought it looked cool, so I got it. Smells like a museum. So for the £15, I get this 17-inch monitor that looks like it was found in a skip outside a library. This thing only uses a VGA connector. As well as this desktop computer, this actually comes in a Cooler Master case. It has 4GB of DDR3 RAM, a 250GB hard drive, and an AMD A6-6400K, which is a dual-core APU from around about 2013. And it also came with these rather grubby peripherals. So anyway, in this video, we're going to take a look at this £15 PC. We're also going to test the gaming performance. And then later on, I've actually gone and picked up a whole bunch of upgrade parts for this PC to see if we can make a budget gaming PC, getting about 180 FPS. So stay tuned for that. And if you do enjoy, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We've just hit 10,000 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. Anyway, let's go on with it. So anyway, the first thing I want to do is take a closer look at this computer. So what have we got? A Cooler Master case, and Google Lens is saying that this is the Cooler Master Elite 330. This front mesh looks really dirty. It's either rusty or very dusty behind it. And this is not something you see every day in 2025, a DVD drive. And just below that, two USB 2 ports, a mic jack, headphone jack, and a Windows 10 sticker. This Windows 10 sticker is telling me this machine's probably newer than 2015 because that's when this operating system came out. And right at the bottom we have the power button and a restart button, but this power button does feel a bit broken actually. Around the back we have the power supply and then all the outputs from the motherboard. And there we have the AMD A-series Black Edition sticker slapped on the back. And then interestingly below that we actually have two extra USB ports in the form of a PCI card. And as expected, there's a lot of rust and dust everywhere on the back of this PC. And now for the part you've all been waiting for, we're going to take a look inside. So here it is. What have we got here? So we've got motherboard, does it say BioStar? We've then got our AMD A6 with what looks like a stock AMD cooler. And there's our 8GB of DDR3 RAM. For some reason the sticks look mismatched. So this makes me think that the previous owner might have added an extra stick of RAM, which is a bit odd because each stick is only 2GB. So that makes me think that back in 2015 this only came with 2GB of RAM, which for a PC in 2015 is still not very much RAM. I feel like most PCs back then were either rocking 4 or 8GB of RAM. Over towards the back we have this very dirty looking Cooler Master fan, and then over here we have a 250GB Seagate hard drive. Interestingly, the power supply has no labels on it, so I've got no idea how many watt it is or whether or not it's going to be able to power our upgraded parts. It does however have some spare power connectors, which is good. I think there's one back here as well. And the overall cable management, in my opinion, looks okay. It is just quite dirty here at the bottom. So I do quickly want to take a look at the peripherals that came with this PC. So here's the mouse. It's from a brand called PC Line, and this looks like it's straight out of 1995. And it has this mysterious button at the bottom. And it just pops the top off. What's the point in that? The keyboard is just this super cheap feeling membrane keyboard. The monitor that came bundled with this computer is this HP VS19X. This monitor isn't even wide angle, which should have been a crime even back in 2015. And its only input is VGA, which is a good thing seeing as the only output on this computer is VGA. No HDMI or DisplayPort in sight. Now for the moment of truth, is it going to turn on? So I've plugged it in. The seller did say they installed a fresh copy of Windows 10 onto this computer. Anyway, let's go for it. Let's see if the power button actually works. Oh, it's making a noise. It's a good sign. Do we get a display? Oh yes, booting into Windows 10. As this computer didn't actually come with Wi-Fi, I had to hook it up to my USB Wi-Fi dongle. I then proceeded to spend the next hour trying to install games on this computer to benchmark. I had the feeling that the mechanical hard drive was failing. Everything was just so slow. Steam just keeps crashing this computer, which is really annoying. If you take a look at Task Manager, we're using like 100% CPU usage, 100% disk usage, and 90% of the memory just to open the homepage of Steam. So there's something going on with this computer. The hard drive seems to be stuck at 100%, so I am suspicious that this mechanical hard drive is failing. I don't remember them being this slow. And even on the download page, it's like downloading at kilobytes per second, which is going to take ages. Even simple tasks like browsing the web seem to be bringing this computer to its knees. The other thing I noticed is if we click on the CPU, it seems to only have one core. I'm pretty sure this A6-6400K is a dual core CPU, so I'm not sure, is one of the cores disabled or something? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Interestingly, the only game I managed to install without the PC completely crashing on me was Minecraft Bedrock Edition. This computer really isn't very responsive. I mean, after the atrocious loading times, the game's okay actually once we're in. Feels like we're probably getting about 30 to 40 frames per second, and it's not super stuttery, but we are playing on like the lowest settings. And this should run on a potato. I'd be really concerned if this couldn't run. Anyway, now I think it's time to take a look at my upgrades that I picked up from eBay to try and turn this into a budget gaming PC that can actually run games decently. So I probably spent about 40 to 50 pounds on all these upgrades, and they're all from eBay. So probably the most important upgrade, an SSD. So I think I paid about 15 quid for this 256 gig SATA SSD. So I reckon this alone would probably make the computer much more usable. It's interesting, this actually looks used. Who cares, as long as it works. It looks like it's from a brand called XUM. Never heard of them. 250 gig SATA SSD. Next we have this envelope. Let's take a look inside. So we've got 2 sticks of DDR3 RAM. So now instead of 4 gigabytes, we have 8 gigabytes of RAM. And I think this only cost me 8 quid for both of them. So let's take a look inside this box. It says fragile. So any gaming PC needs a dedicated video card. So I've gone out and bought a graphics card. So here we have the EVGA GTX 750 superclocked. So the reasons I went with this GTX 750, 1, because it only cost me 15 quid. 2, because it actually doesn't require any dedicated power. Which is a good thing because I didn't know whether or not that computer's power supply had any spare power connectors. And the third reason, because EVGA, they make the coolest looking graphics cards. I miss EVGA graphics cards. It's such a short card. This definitely isn't the most powerful card out there by any means, but I think it will give this computer a nice boost, and it should be able to play games that are like 7 or 8 years old. Here we go. So here we have ourselves a CPU. So the CPU we have here is the AMD Athlon X4 760K. And the reason I went with this CPU, again, it was only £9 on eBay. And the second reason I went with this CPU is the socket. So initially I thought that computer with the A6 in it had the same socket as the Bulldozer series of CPUs, so the FX 8350, which I think would have been a decent upgrade. But unfortunately that A6-6400 uses a weird socket. It's called the FM2, as opposed to the AM3 platform that the FX Bulldozer CPUs utilized. So as far as I'm aware, the most powerful CPU for this FM2 platform is the AMD A10 APU, but those still go for about 25-30 quid. But another CPU that actually works with the FM2 platform is this Athlon here. So this, unlike the A6 that's currently in the system, is not an APU, so this doesn't have any integrated graphics. But that's okay because we're putting dedicated graphics into this computer. So the reason I went with this is because it's quad core. I believe it's got 4 cores, 8 threads, and it should be a nice improvement over the dual core CPU that's currently in the computer. Let's take a closer look at it. CPU pins have always fascinated me. Be delicate with them. There we go. And finally, to go along with that CPU, we have some thermal paste. I think this thermal paste was like £1.50. All right, it's time to upgrade that PC. That calls for a PC upgrading montage. It's been about 12 years since I've tampered with a computer, so the first thing I think we should install is the CPU. Take off the latch. So the CPU has come off attached to the cooler, which is a bit of a problem because I need to reuse this cooler. Got it on my fingers. Next, let's upgrade the RAM. That's tiny, look how thin that RAM is. Such a short graphics card. There we go. So the final thing we need to install is the SSD. To do that, we're going to unplug the hard drive. So it is the moment of truth. We've upgraded this computer. It's got a new graphics card, a new CPU, double the amount of RAM and an SSD. So now it's time to see if it actually works. I've not yet installed an operating system on this SSD, but we'll see if it posts to the BIOS. And it's working. We've actually done it. We've upgraded this PC. So I now need to install an operating system on it and test out some games. I just want to mention that this new graphics card doesn't actually have a VGA, so we're not able to use this old specimen of a monitor. I had to find this HDMI monitor. So I've got a Windows install on this USB stick. Let's plug it in. So here we are a couple of hours later. So I finally installed Windows on this computer and downloaded a couple of games to test out the performance. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into a couple of games to see how well this newly upgraded entry-level gaming PC actually performs. So the first game we're going to be testing is Half-Life 2. It's a game from about 20 years ago, so it should run absolutely fine on this hardware. And there you go, with VSync off, we're getting about 200 FPS, more than playable. This is another Source Engine game, Left 4 Dead 2. Again, a couple of years old, so it should run absolutely fine. These Source Engine games run really well, so we're getting about 180 FPS. I have a feeling it's probably going to dip when the zombies come. So the zombies have turned up and it has dipped. We're getting between 70 and 80 FPS now, which is still very playable, and you can always lower the graphics settings. So now we've jumped into Minecraft Bedrock Edition, which was the only game we could run before we upgraded this computer. And now we're running, I think, on like high settings with smooth lighting and pretty decent render distance. For some reason I can't get the FPS counter to work on this game, but trust me, it's definitely running at like a solid 60. It feels like it's got VSync on. There's basically no stuttering. This game runs pretty much perfectly. So next we're going to check out one of the hardest games, Dark Souls Remastered. As far as I remember, this game isn't that hard to run, so it should be fine. So the loading times are definitely a lot better after installing the SSD. And this is one of those games that's locked at 60 frames per second. I don't think you can unlock the frame rate, but as you can see, it's a solid 60. It feels really smooth. Yeah, this runs perfectly. I could basically have a 5090 and not even tell the difference. And this definitely got me thinking, you don't need the highest end PC to run most games on Steam. It's just the games that have been released in the last few years that are hard to run, and UE5 games. So the final game we're going to test is Crysis. Can it run Crysis? So we're going to jump into Crysis Warhead. So here we are, we're getting about 50 FPS, which is definitely playable. Feels super smooth. See what settings we're on. I think we're on like the lowest settings. So I'm going to increase the settings to something that looks a little bit better. So we're going to go on, should we go right to enthusiast, highest settings on Crysis. There we go, it didn't actually drop the FPS that much. What are we getting, like 35 FPS? To be honest, it's not terrible. There's a few stutters here and there. Yeah, this game looks really good. Something that people might argue is this isn't really the original PC that I bought for 15 quid. We've essentially changed the RAM, changed the GPU and changed the CPU. Yeah, this is playable and it looks really good. Yeah, like the water in this game looks better than some games nowadays. So there you go, we've upgraded this £15 Gumtree computer with a new CPU, graphics card, RAM and SSD, and it's now able to play some slightly older games pretty well. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, be sure to drop us a like and consider subscribing. We've just hit 10,000 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. And let me know what your thoughts are on this system in the comment section below, and I'll see everyone in my next video.